recently heard that in some families, the children have their own responsibilities for getting themselves ready, but we haven't got there yet. So at the moment, yeah, I'll put your socks on, I'll pack your school bag, do your bed. So at the moment, that's our big challenge, is at least to give them like 1 or 2 things they can be doing. Because for the kids, it's awesome. My 7-year-old gets up, has her breakfast, and then just sits there reading while we run around him. So that's our little kind of goal at the moment.
Challenges with the school age girls is who's being whose friend on what day, who's been invited to whose party, girls, moods, all the things I struggle with as a man.
School lunchboxes, oh, that's a challenge, isn't it? Doing a good school lunchbox, the pressure is on to get a really good lunchbox. The home baking, when you're doing that, midnight if you're a working parent.
Our daughter struggled a bit with drop-offs. She missed mum. When mum dropped her off, she'd cry. Then when I dropped her off when I was on holidays, she didn't cry, which made me want to cry, because obviously I'm not worth crying over. But she eventually got over it, good little group of friends. So yeah, just stick at it. It's hard, but they get over it.
You freak out as a parent that they're not doing it at the right speed. Like you get terrified, like, oh, my child can't read or they can't do things. But a teacher once explained to me, they said, look, it all comes out in the wash. Generally, most kids can do this. By the time they leave primary school, they can do that. If they can't read in the first year fluently a book, don't worry about it. Don't stress, because that stress, relates to them as well.
I think we just need to kind of at times just step back and let them still be kids. So for my child, he isn't into reading, and I've really struggled with not, making him read this book every night. And then in the past couple of months, I've actually thought, he doesn't enjoy it at the moment. He's only 6. I'm just going to let him be for a minute.
Your child's friendships, who they have, that's a really big challenging one, to make sure that influences, because who your child hangs out with, their influences can be a major impact on how they do well at school and everything. Also their relationship with the teachers and your relationship with the teachers. Make sure that you just go and introduce yourself, because teachers are really busy people, but you want to just get a bit of a feel about how your child is going, because sometimes you don't want them slipping through the cracks.
She has had to learn how to share, and I think that's probably been the biggest challenge at this age, is to share, and that means share your toys, share your kindness and your generosity. Sometimes you have to share your mummy and daddy. If there's a child staying over, yes, they're going to actually be treated the same way as you.
They just become their own little gang, their little gang of friends, and they change quite dramatically what they want in a friend. And sometimes that can be hard for you as a parent, because they're hanging out with kids that you don't necessarily know that child's parents, which you have done in their little years. And as they get older and they make their own friends, you may not have anything in common with the parents, which is kind of challenging at first, but then you have to let them go and spread their little wings.
Getting them to sleep. Now that we've got 2 girls that are sort of 7 and 5, they're up to all sorts of mischief, and you can be right on the edge of blowing your top and yelling at them, and then they'll come downstairs and they've played dress up with all of your clothes, and suddenly everyone dissolves into laughter. That only happens one time. The other 10 times you do lose your cool.
You're baking all the time. You're baking for galas, for fairs, for fundraising. You're doing a lot of that sort of thing. So just get your key recipe that's really easy and roll that one out every single time. They'll love it.
I find some of my kids just go through periods where they're a bit sensitive, for no reason in particular. They'll just burst into tears, and it just makes me think, I've just got to sit down with this one and give them some real solid one-on-one time.